Did you know that ticket prices can actually go down right before the game? That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time tracks ticket prices in real time from thousands of trusted sellers, then shows you all the best deals. So we can get tickets at the last minute for up to 60% off. Download Game Time now.
Hey folks, welcome into this edition of NFL Daily on this Thursday edition. Tom Downey's a busy man right now, ladies and gentlemen, because he's breaking down all of what is going on with this breaking news right now. Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson has torn his ACL. This was reported just moments ago by NFL Network. It was during a practice drill, regular read option, Tom, and he just went down.
And he walked off the field. Like, it wasn't like a Teddy Bridgewater, oh my God, his career's over. It was like, oh, well, look, hey, he's fine. Like, he walked off. He'll be back on the field, and then torn ACL. And the fact that it's a non-contact injury, that always concerns you. That's what has me worried about that case, because when he goes down, non-contact, that means it's bad. We don't know the full severity of the torn ACL, but at this point in the season, he ain't coming back.
This is really just awful news, Tom. I mean, so many big-time injuries this season, especially to the Houston Texans, Whitney Merciless and J.J. Watt. Now Deshaun Watson done for the year, coming off of a historically good performance against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, firing on all cylinders against that Legion of Boom. Now on a Wednesday, or a Thursday, I should say, tearing his ACL, and what was such a promising season for him, and perhaps the front runner to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, all for naught now.
Yeah, look, he had 19 touchdowns already this year. That is super impressive to have that many touchdowns. He's thrown some picks. He's thrown 4 in his last 2 games. It's okay when you have 7 touchdowns. I think that's okay. The issue is now with the Texans is Tom Savage is your starting quarterback, Cam, and how exciting is that? Because we've seen Tom Savage and he sucks.
Yeah, he's kind of bad. We've seen him once this year, Tom. He did play in Week 1. Bill O'Brien, of course, saying that he was going to be the starter during the preseason. So we did start that game against Jacksonville in Week 1. 7 of 13, 62 yards. Yeah, and he did not play very well. No. And that's why Deshaun Watson came in, and he's been playing fantastically. Unfortunately, that won't be the case for him anymore, playing for football for the Houston Texans. They also got Matt McGloin to come on over and play for the Texans as an insurance kind of policy, if you will. McGloin, that Penn State connection with Bill O'Brien.
You know, on one level, it makes so much sense because, oh, it is the Penn State connection. Like, he knows the offense. He knows the Bill O'Brien scheme. But Matt McGloin has hardly played. Like, I would have preferred the Texans gone out and signed Colin Kaepernick. Like, I know I keep mentioning that on this show. Colin Kaepernick can do so much more than Matt McGloin. And you think about what Deshaun Watson's been doing, he's been using his legs. Guess what Tom Savage and Matt McGloin can't do?
Run.
Move. Tom Savage is the slowest quarterback I think I've ever seen in the NFL, slower than Peyton Manning. Deshaun Watson can run around the pocket a little bit. Colin Kaepernick can run around the pocket. They would have been a better fit, I think.
So there have been quarterback injuries this year, Tom, and there has been this whole dialogue about perhaps Colin Kaepernick will get a chance. Maybe he will play for a team this year. A couple of examples, of course, the Tennessee Titans with that injury to Marcus Mariota. He's fine now. Green Bay Packers, another example, Tom, when the Kaepernick rumors were swirling. Yes. Would Green Bay give him a chance? Here we are again. A big-time quarterback goes down, done for the year, and here we go with the wondering, will Colin Kaepernick get a shot? There are reports out there that perhaps Bob McNair, the owner of the Houston Texans, will sign off on Kaepernick getting a workout. We have not clarified that and proved that ourselves here at Chat Sports.
I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple people I trust. I think that maybe what happened is he signed off. Doesn't matter. McGloin's been signed. Like, he is the backup. Now, maybe they bring in Kaepernick later, but they wanted McGloin because he knows the system, which I get, but he is not going to get the Texans to the playoffs. He's not. And Tom Savage, I also don't think is going to either.
So Matt McGloin, the biggest sample size from him, folks, is his 2013 campaign for Oakland when he started 6 games, played in 7 total, 8 touchdowns, 8 picks, 55.9 completion percentage. Obviously, not very good numbers. And Matt McGloin, since that 2013 campaign, has only appeared in 6 games. He's only started in 1 of them. And that was in 2016. Remember that playoff game, of course, for the Oakland Raiders when they battled the Houston Texans, actually. So Matt McGloin, pretty much an insurance policy at that. not a great resume on his tab.
It's not, and I think the main concern around me with Tom Savage and Matt McGloin, and we're going to get to this here in a little bit about what this means for the AFC and the Texans in general.
Yeah.
Matt McGloin is like an okay backup at best. Colin Kaepernick, at best, is a low-end starter, really good backup.
Yeah.
Like, Colin Kaepernick is a starting caliber NFL quarterback. When you look at the bums playing right now in the NFL, like Tom Savage, you saw Ryan Mallett get action.
Of the world.
The Tolziens, those guys are playing. I would have much rather seen Colin Kaepernick. If I'm a Texans fan, I'm clamoring for Kaepernick because I want to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I've seen Tom Savage play. I've seen Matt McGloin play. They're not getting the job done, especially with an offensive line that has some issues. Kaepernick, I think, would give the Texans a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. With Savage and McGloin, it ain't happening.
So you'll stay on those lines, Tom, and get more information about Colin Kaepernick here. Let's look at the AFC South in general and kind of where we stand in terms of the NFL playoff picture. So we got the Titans, we got the Jaguars, both at 4-3 respectively. The Texans at 3-4. But really, we gave any of those three teams a shot to win the AFC South this year. Then you got the Colts there at 2-6. Now with Deshaun Watson going down, you have to wonder if it is a two-horse race at this point. I actually still thought the Texans were the favorites to win the AFC South with Watson in that lineup, even though they're at 3-4. Now things change.
I feel like a smart cookie right now because we did Downey's Dozen projecting the NFL playoffs. You'll see it tomorrow on NFL Daily. Like the page, you'll be notified when we go live. Normally at 6 p.m. Eastern. We went a little bit live for you guys because of the Deshaun Watson news. It's funny to me. I feel smart because I thought the Texans didn't have the greatest schedule. I thought the Jaguars, Titans set up very well. But to answer the question, can the Texans make the playoffs without Deshaun Watson? If they're starting Tom Savage, no, they cannot.
Yeah.
Not with a banged-up defense and offensive line that just shut away their best player. They can't do it.
The Texans are already behind the 8 ball in terms of the AFC playoff picture because you've got the Steelers at the 1 seed if the season were to end today, Chiefs as the 2, Patriots at 3, Titans at 4, so they would win the AFC South if the season ended today. Then you got the Bills at 5, Jags at 6, then the Dolphins as the outside looking in at number 7, Baltimore at 8. You got to go down to seed number 9, if you will, Tom, to find the Houston Texans just ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals here. So they were already in a bit of a hole here. Now with Watson out, now you got to put in Tom Savage and pray that this guy can take you to the playoffs. It's a tall, tall ask.
It's not a reasonable ask either. Like, yeah, they kind of got by with Tom Savage last year. The defense was a little bit better. They had A.J. Boye, for example. They had Whitney Merciless. He's been hurt too now. It's not going to happen for the Texans. Now, maybe they get lucky, but we saw Houston, what they looked like with Tom Savage in Week 1, and they got wrecked by the Jaguars. Now, maybe they're a little bit better. Not going to happen going forward here. The Texans' schedule the rest of the way, it's nowhere near as easy as like the Jaguars, which I think actually sets up very well. They got the Colts this week. All right, home game. If they lose that game, wrap it up. Season's over. They go on the road to the Rams. Don't like that game. Home against Arizona. I think that they can win that game. So let's say they win these next 2. That puts them at 5 wins. On the road against Baltimore.
Tough.
Don't like it. On the road against Tennessee. Don't like it. Home against San Francisco. All right, I'll give you that game. On the road against Jacksonville. Don't like it. Home against the Steelers. Don't like that one either, especially if these are playing for something
so
still
we're staring
on Monday
at
night.
6 and 10-ish right now.
6-10, 7 wins, somewhere in that range. What the Texans should do, Cam, they should tank for a high draft pick. Oh.
Yeah, see, Tom,
yeah,
they can't
that's
get
the issue.
one.
Yeah, they don't have one. They traded it for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Well, at least their second-round pick can be – oh.
No second-round pick
They traded that to get rid of Brock Osweiler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
And that guy's starting for Denver this week.
Oh, boy. Cleveland's happy right now.
Yeah, well, This is really a tough situation. Talk about the emotional roller coaster here, too, Tom. Your team wins the World Championship in baseball, the World Series, the Houston Astros. Now today, really bad news with the Houston Texans. I mean, talk about peaks and valleys. Unbelievable. Yeah. So we do want you weighing in, folks, throwing in your comments. We are completely live here on NFL Daily, starting a little early for you guys, breaking down this breaking news. Cam Rogers alongside Tom Downey. We aim to please here on Facebook Live. So throw in those comments, your reactions about Deshaun Watson going out for the year. I'm seeing people who are commenting and tweeting, etc., that this is really just tough news in general for the football community because he's such a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, I've loved watching Deshaun Watson play. I'm the first to admit I was not super high on him coming out of Clemson. I thought he was the exception. He had to be the exception to the rule because of his arm strength, the velocity issues, and some size concerns a little bit as well, accuracy in general. He has been so much better than what I saw at Clemson. I have been very impressed by Deshaun Watson. It sucks that he's hurt, and I'm now kind of concerned here about Deshaun Watson going forward. ACLs are not easy to recover from. Remember RG3. Now, if you're Houston, I know what you're thinking. Oh, man, we got to rush him back. We got to get him back on the field. We can win now. You got to be careful with him. You got to let him take his time because his mobility is a very important part of who he is as a player. It's what helps make him so good. All right. If he just sits around the pocket, he's not going to be the same guy. Think back of all these plays he's made. Same is true of Russ Wilson. The mobility and the ability to extend plays, make guys miss in the pocket, is essential to his play style. That's not a bad thing, by the way. That's actually a very good thing. So the Texans need to be careful with Deshaun Watson and accept the fact that they are now stuck with Tom Savage as their awful quarterback.
And you know what? I think where that's going to affect the most is Mr. DeAndre Hopkins. He is having a fantastic campaign this year at wide receiver, and now he just can't catch a break with a healthy quarterback or an adequate quarterback. And here you go again with a similar narrative that DeAndre Hopkins has been dealing with. Brock Osweiler and Brian Hoyer and all these misfits at the quarterback position, and then dealing with this injury here with Deshaun Watson. Really tough to see. And you mentioned the mobility. One of the better quarterbacks, kind of like a Russell Wilson, getting outside the pocket, making plays happen. And this offensive line for Houston, not one of the better ones either. You got to go to one guy, the center. Nick Martin is as the only adequate graded offensive lineman according to Pro Football Focus. So Tom Savage, he does have the mobility to run and save himself.
You know, I'm going to do a fantasy podcast later today, and I was strongly considering putting on, we were going to have a topic on which player to sell high on. I was going to put Deshaun Watson. I changed my mind there. Thankfully, he's hurt, so you can't sell high on him at all now. I was concerned about the offensive line. I know that the Texans have survived thus far, and they've been getting by with Chris Clark and Brino Giacomoni.
Yeah.
Who is a real person. I did not make him up. He used to play for the Jets. My concern is that with Tom Savage back there, he's going to get destroyed. Like, he's just going to be a sitting duck back there with a banged-up offensive line. That's one of my main concerns there.
You know what this is also a big concern for? The NFL in general and their ratings problem. Here are the big-time quarterbacks.
We're going to talk ratings, folks.
Oh, yeah. These are the quarterbacks that have gone down for the year, or could be for the entire year. Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Deshaun Watson, Carson Palmer, Andrew Luck, who was put on IR. We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, it's a rough year.
That's tough. That is tough for the NFL to overcome.
The all-injury team is the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
Plain
seriously.
and simple.
Seriously. So many big names have gone down. I mentioned J.J. Watt and a couple of others. So, obviously, some bad luck here. If you're just tuning in, this is NFL Daily, ladies and gentlemen, on Chat Sports Facebook Live. The breaking news, of course, coming out of Houston, Deshaun Watson tears his ACL, a non-contact injury. You brought up an interesting point, Tom, because it's not like the Teddy Bridgewater deal where there were players crying.
No, it was just terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so bad.
Just fear. And Deshaun Watson walked this off. So
you see that sometimes with a torn ACL. You'll see them be like, oh, my knee's not right. Let's go get it checked out. They walk off the field with a limp or whatever. And that's what it ends up being here with Deshaun Watson. It's just knee injuries are weird sometimes. Injuries in general are weird. Like, you'll be like, oh, my arm is broken. Oh, I see bone, whatever. Like, it just, like, it doesn't hit you.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't understand it there.